Philip Stoughton. I am Electronica 2024 and I'm joined by Otto from InCap. Otto, great to see you again, my friend.
Great to see you as well, Philip.
How have you been? I saw you were presenting here on stage yesterday.
No, I've been good, and it's always nice to be here in Electronica, and especially now after all these COVIDs, and see this seems to be one of the first full-fledged shows after that. So
it fascinates me, the Munich shows, because they are alternate years, have been so resilient over the years. You compare it with SMT Connect or some of the smaller local shows that are kind of disappearing. This is robust. Every hotel in Munich is full.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's very hard to get hotels. So
yeah.
But it's so far been a very nice show. And as you said, I was speaking here for sustainability yesterday with Margus Jakobsson, our managing director from Estonia, and we have a full program as always when we have visiting these kind of shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to talk to you about the sustainability side. I mean, we'll get to the trends in the market, but we all know they're not great numbers. But I think we focus a lot on the financial numbers. There are a lot of numbers behind the numbers, things like diversity and inclusion in the business, things like the performance in terms of sustainability and carbon footprint. Let's talk a little bit about how important those are. They've always been important to you. I'm curious how important they are to your customers and where that sits on people's agenda at the moment.
I think it's very important, and I think it's very refreshing after these years of startup booms and so where we have had companies coming in and perhaps challenging the normal norms and the legislations and so that this ESG topic has been taken up on the table very seriously. So it's not only about making money; it's about how you make money, and that you do that in a sustainable way. And of course, for me personally, I this has always been close to my heart. And for InCap as well, if you look in our ESG program, it's started from our employees, so it comes down up. And so it's been very much in the core of the business. And I think it has to do with that we are a decentralized organization. So our employees feel very much ownership of the business, and they want to do good business and with a clean conscience and do the right thing. And we all want to live in a better world in the end of the day. So I think this has, and now of course with the new legislation and so then coming in and the reporting requirements and so then this is here to stay. So it's getting very real now.
Yeah, and the companies that cared about it are ahead of the curve. So it's good to be counted among those. I think when you look at sustainability for a manufacturing company, it's fascinating because we have a role to play in manufacturing products that can make a more sustainable world, clean energy, those kind of products. But we also have a role in how we manufacture, where we manufacture, and all of those kind of elements. Where do you kind of set your own priorities?
Well, of course, we want to turn this sustainable business into a business advantage. I think as I mentioned before, it's here to stay, and now you need to do the best of it in that sense. And through this reporting, we are collecting a lot of data, and the key thing is now how to use and utilize that data in a way that turns your business more efficient. So it's of course a developing process, and we are in the starting grounds now and slowly developing, but I'm quite sure that over time we will see very interesting development from all companies in the field. And also cooperation, I think, is, if you look at now in the EU regulation with the scope 3 assessments where we need to assess the whole value chain and so then today we know all from conflicts minerals how hard it is to get information from some of the Asian suppliers and that don't follow the same rules and regulations, and now we all need to assess what is then their impact in the value chain, and either we do that alone or we do that together in that sense. And I think we can do it together and work, for example, within IPC and the other trade organizations to figure this out together and work closely in the industry.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating, and I think it kind of overlays with what I want to talk about with respect to trends in the industry. We've just got past the election finally in the US. Regardless of your politics, regardless of your view on the outcome, we're clearly going into a more protectionist era, a less globalized era. where there are more market restrictions. You very successfully built a footprint in India, which is where a lot of people are going. You're ahead in that. That all plays into perhaps more regional supply chains, which do have a more sustainable, lower carbon footprint element in it. How do you see that changing geography? How do you see InCap's footprint in the future? You successfully invested in the US, which might be really good news given the expected tariffs.
Yeah, you do. Never know in that sense. It's very early to see how it plays all out. But no, but I think we see trends in some kind of start when it comes to regional supply chain and the building. But we should remember as well, we are how to say far off from it today.
Yeah.
Today, most of the supply chain is around China and coming out from there, and our politicians and so. Have not played the same game as the Chinese in that sense.
Yeah.
They have played 400-year policies, and ours are fighting. They don't even stay together 4 years very often. So we have a head start, even if we can turn back some of the component manufacturing and so, for example, into Europe and so. Then raw materials still controlled by so we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But I say that optimistically because now we have brought these issues on the table, and I'm quite sure that especially due to the security situation in Europe and so and around the world, that people are understanding more and more how vital it is with the local supply chain or regional supply chain, and with regional I mean within, for example, the European Union or within other countries like India and so on, and it has become more and more important. So I'm quite sure that over time we will see changes here as well.
Yeah, and India feels like a good bet. There are a lot of people getting there at the moment. We're seeing, people like Apple and Foxconn building big campuses there. That should bring the whole industry along there. That must feel good for you to have got in there a little bit before everybody else and kind of been one of the first to arrive at that.
Yeah, no, we are very happy over our Indian operation, and we expanded now in the third factory that we have here as well a year ago. But one thing is to be in India, the other one is to run business successful in India. In InCap we do that as well, but I know many others are struggling and so have it tough because India is a tricky market.
Yeah, it is. It's a tricky place to do business as well.
So yeah, but also what is interesting to see now with all these big players coming in, that it seems to be so that they are not there for the low cost.
No.
They're there for the availability of engineers.
Yeah.
And that is something new. So we see that the salary levels are developing quite quickly in India, and especially on specialist level and high-end engineers, I think earns the same amount now in India than in many other places in the world.
Yeah, and it's curious how that then layers up to building a bigger middle class that eventually become consumers, and you find yourself in India not just as an export region, but in India for India to support the market. So I think there are exciting opportunities there. You did your most recent investments were in North America. How's that all been going?
We are over our expectation. Our acquisition we made with Electronica last year have played out much better than we could hope for. We have paid out the full earn-out to the former owners, and so it has gone very well. And I feel that, as you mentioned before, we are well placed with manufacturing now in US, and we can support many of our customers, especially when it comes to strategic products or defense products or security products that perhaps need now to be manufactured in US. But we have just a toe into the US market. I'm wouldn't be surprised if you see more InCap sites there over time, and we are just starting to cover the market. It's very interesting. It's the world's biggest economy, and there's a lot of opportunities there if you manage the company correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that anybody that follows InCap on social media will be aware is it kind of feels like family, and it's really interesting when you see the integration of big groups from companies outside of Europe, and after a short while they feel like family. And I think you've successfully done that in the US.
Yeah, no, I think we have a good concept, and when we come and take over an operation, we basically give the power of leading that organization to the employees that are on site, and they are very motivated on taking on the possibility to perhaps take a bigger role than they have done before, and so far it has worked very well. So the acquisitions we have made during my time have been integrated very well, and due to that.
Yeah, and a sense of fun as well. That's part of InCap's DNA, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think numbers and so are always serious, but the rest you can do in a much more fun way. And looking around, if you look in the electronic industry, we are so boring.
We're not very good at fun.
Yes, we are not doing
we
good
can
at
do
fun.
better.
Everybody looks the same. Everybody do the same marketing. Everybody has a blue logo because it's electrician.
Because it feels safe.
So why don't have a little bit fun where you can? And
check things out. Otto, pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time, and look forward to chatting again
soon.
soon.
Thank you very much.